Remember when in 2017 that Atari was calling the now Atari VCS the Atari box? That should have been the first red flag. I guarantee you the system is going to be a train wreck.
Skip it up and that up.
So it is now the end of 2020, and the first time I talked about the Atari VCS, it was known as the Atari box, was in 2017. Summer of 2017. Around E3 of 2017. Take a look at the initial Sizzler reveal trailer. It'll get your nipples tingling. Well, first off, like I said in the intro of this video, Atari box should have been the first red flag. Why was it called the Atari box? Like Xbox? It was just like, hey, let's rush out a name so we could hype something up, and we're going to call it the Atari box. I'm going to make a console and call it the Cucumber box. I just thought of that right now. That's what it seemed like the name was for the VCS initially. Well, anyway, it changed over to the VCS, and they had a successful Indiegogo campaign that raised over $3 million. That was about a year later that they had the successful Indiegogo campaign. The console got delayed again. They had a super anemic dual-core AMD chipset in there. Now they went up to a Ryzen anemic dual-core chipset. So, yay! And guess what? The Atari VCS is finally going to be released this holiday. Keep in mind, it doesn't have the specs to handle 7th-gen games properly, let alone current-gen games, and they're basically launching it aside the next-gen consoles, more expensive than the Series S, and it doesn't really have any must-have exclusive games, except really old games from the original 1977 Atari 2600. And they really expect you to buy it. And T3, who is supposed to be a journalism website, basically did a softball article on the launch of the Atari VCS this coming November, and it seems more like an advertisement than a critical article. Good job, T3. I'm going to read it to you in a salesman voice with some nice music in the background, and then we'll discuss what they wrote. Atari just crashed a PS5 party with a brand new console. I'm assuming and hoping that this is tongue-in-cheek and sarcastic, but when you read the article, it doesn't seem that way. That's the first thing I thought when I read the title. The PS5 launches now in a mere matter of weeks, with next-gen gaming console hitting store shelves in November 2020. However, there is another new games console launching in November this year too, and this one comes with access to more than 100 games included, and 98 of them you're going to want to play for 5 minutes and never touch again. That new console is the Atari VCS, a new version of the classic Atari VCS, and it is launching this November alongside the PlayStation 5. I guess not the Series X and S though. Unlike the original Atari VCS though, which first went on sale in 1977, the new Atari VCS comes with a raft of new tech to make it 2020 ready, including an AMD Ryzen CPU. Doesn't mention that it's a dual-core, multi-threaded one that could barely handle Windows. AMD Radeon GPU. It's an APU, and it's meant for laptops, and it's going to barely be able to run games at 900p, and 8 gigabytes of RAM, expandable too, that can pump the games out in 4K HDR. No, it can't. Not saying it can't stream or output video in 4K HDR. It's no way it's rendering games in native 4K and in HDR. It's just not happening. That's a joke. The Atari VCS also comes with USB 3.0, HDMI, and Ethernet port. The original Xbox had an Ethernet port too, for wired connections, as well as Wi-Fi and Bluetooth for wireless connectivity. The Atari VCS is available for pre-order now for $389.99. Almost $400 US directly from Atari, and can be picked up in 3 different colorways, including Black Walnut, Onyx Black, and Carbon Gold. And the all-in bundle for $389.99, almost $100 more than the Xbox Series S, which will give you a way better gaming experience, comes with the console. It comes with in a Bluetooth version of the original Atari controller, which you held like this. I'm not trying to be perverted right now. And it comes with a modern controller that looks like an Xbox One controller for $400. Keep in mind that you're not going to play any next-gen games on that thing. There's no way in hell it's capable of running it. It does not have the specs. I've talked about the specs before. And they want you to spend the same amount you would spend on a next-gen console to have no games minus old retro classic ones that you could get on a billion different formats, a billion different consoles. You could get them on Steam. You can get them wherever the hell you want to. And that's it. There's no must-have exclusives. There's nothing else going on for this system. It is not going to play games in 4K. It is not going to give you those AAA games that you want. You're probably barely even going to get any good indie games on there. And they want you to spend money when your phone, my Google Pixel, or the new iPhone, have more horsepower, more graphical performance, more computing power than this box. And they make it like a selling point that you could put Windows and Linux on there if you want to. Yay! I'd rather put Linux on an old Dell or Windows on an old Dell and put a nice graphics card in there, and it would be less money than this, and I could play games like Doom Eternal at 1440p. I've done it. You've got to be kidding me. Look, and they have the audacity. They have their marketing team must have no common sense, because you're launching a console that's really not going to have any must-have software that people are going to totally forget about because the next-gen big systems are coming from Sony and Microsoft, and you're launching it in the same month. One blessing you could give to Intellivision is they had to delay the Intellivision. Tommy, if you're watching this video, it ended up being a blessing in disguise, because if you launched the Amico, okay, at the same time as the PS5 and Series X, it would have just gotten lost in the fray. At least now that they're launching it in 2021, I'm not saying it's going to make the Amico successful. It still has a huge, steep mountain to climb, but at least people will, their mind will be open to other things. You know, the consoles will have launched. Oh, look, the Amico's out there. It has some quick games that I want to play, and it'll be good to play with my kids or good to play with my family. Now, I will say this, Tommy, some of those games look like bad Flash games. Some look good, some look awful. And those games, they need to have more work put into them. I'm surprised you put those in a sizzler reel. Some of the ones were good, and some of them like, why are they showing this? It looks bad. It looks like a Flash game I would have played in 2007. But at least they're trying, though, with Earthworm Jim. Yeah, I saw the teaser trailer, and everyone gave it crap. I'm like, it's just a friggin' teaser. It looks like Earthworm Jim. What the hell's the big deal? But in the end, I think it was smart for Intellivision to delay. I understand it's mostly because of the pandemic, but they'll be able to get some spotlight on the Amico. Whereas if they launched it this fall, people would have been like, man, I'm saving my money for a next-gen system. I ain't buying this thing. Or now, if they launch it next year, there is more of a chance, it doesn't guarantee, but there's more of a chance that people might pay attention to the Amico. So, and at least they're trying to have games on the Amico that you can't get anywhere else. What is the Atari VCS doing? Nothing. It's a little underpowered Linux or Windows computer that you're going to be able to play old games on that you could play anywhere else. Well done, Atari. I just launched this thing and let it fail so we could stop talking about it. It just pisses me off, though. They're trying to pull the wool. Please don't buy this thing at $400. Please don't. Don't buy it at all. I'm not buying it. But $400 for an underpowered gaming machine that's going to barely have any games and be able to run virtually nothing, it's highway robbery. They're just trying to steal people's money with nostalgia, and I hope it doesn't work. This is Rich of Review Tech USA signing out. Have a good one. Hey, if you enjoy my content, consider becoming a Review Tech USA member. I'll have a link below in the description. I live stream now on this channel all the time, and it gives you access to cool emoticons to use as well while I live stream. Again, link below in the description. Thank you for your continued support.